Today on Tricrow Studios, I ask myself why I bought this amp again. The exact same amp. So to set the scene here, quite a few years back, I wanted to try out the Blackstar HT series. So I was hearing a few good things, maybe a little bit of negativity, but mostly good things about it. Mostly how they're rather versatile and they could handle metal. So the Blackstar HT Studio 20, this exact one here, was actually on the used market here for a half decent price, so I decided to pick it up. My issue at the time was the other amps that I had were a Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier, a Mesa Boogie Mark 590 watt, a Marshall JVM 410H, a Marshall JCM 2000 DSL 50, and an EVH 5153 50 watt head. So it was also playing a lot more predominantly high gain metal type of stuff. So this kind of fell through the wayside. Things I remember about this amp, it desperately needed a presence control. The ISF feature sort of felt like it was somewhat of a blend of a resonance and a presence control with the American versus US blending tone knob. But it didn't fully replace things. And the biggest thing to me, especially in a high gain scenario, when you turn things up, it started to sound boxy. And that's really where a presence control would have been highly welcomed here. It sort of had that, am I a tube amp, am I a solid state amp, where with some solid state amps, when you start to turn things up past like 3 or 4, the frequencies don't liven up. It just sounds like it's,
Tele Mesa, this is what I'm doing now.
I know I sounded like an idiot there. So long story short, I sold it to Kevin on this channel, shipped it across the country, and he had it for a few years, and I believe he felt the same way. However, after reading a whole bunch of comments on older videos that I did with the HT Studio 20 and buying an HT Stage 100, which has a presence control, you know, I read a lot of things about the HT Studio 20 saying like, you know what, this is my main amp, have you tried this, have you tried this, and you know, when you start raising that volume, that you can run into those issues, because if you have it at a lower volume, you can kind of correct things afterwards, and I kind of felt like I didn't give this amp a fair shake of things. So I bought it, again, from Kevin, and had it shipped back across the country. Now I'm going to do more in-depth videos on this, so I'm going to do a metal video, a no metal, no pedals video, a no talking video, and then I'll finally do a full in-depth review, just so I can put it through all of its proper paces. However, I did want to show a little bit of the versatility of this amp, and then as well I wanted to give a demonstration of high gain with it. So you're going to hear 4 different guitars going through with some different sounds with the HT Studio 20, and then you'll hear a volume increased on the amp and boosted with a TS9. Then you're going to hear volume increased on the amp, and you're going to hear the volume turned down but just raised in post. All right, so there you go. I think versatility-wise, the Studio 20 has its benefits. However, I do think I have to take a little more time to crack the enigma that is the high gain with this amp. Because I do still feel that it comes across a little boxy. And when it's at a lower volume, even increasing things in post, it's not as pleasing as some other lower watt amps that I've tried. But again, I still do have to put it through its paces. And you know what? If this is your main amp, go ahead and throw the comments on the comments below. You know what you do use. Spare me of the 10-band EQ. I know that's the cheap guitarist or the poor man's guitarist way of saying I don't have to buy any other amps. I just need to throw a 10-band EQ in the loop. Everyone has done that at the earlier stages or what have you. It's a great trick, that's for sure. But you don't need to leave. You don't use an amp at that point. Anyway, thanks for watching. That sounded horrible.